YouTube, my name is Danica and today I have my May wrap-up. So in May I read 7 books, which is good, but I'm hoping to pick up the pace a little bit because I do have a long list of books that I still want to read before LeakyCon, which is only in a couple months. And let's go right into it. So the first book I read was Thank You, Anja by Marijke Hoopel. This is a book that I was sent for paid review at the Lesbrary, which means that before I review it, I send it to the author to make sure that it's approved to be posted, and they haven't replied to me, so I don't think I can say anything about it. But I read it. Next, I read War of Streets and Houses by Sophie Yarrow. This is a graphic novel. It's very short, which makes it a really quick read, but it's got a lot of really interesting things happening in it. I reviewed it at the Lesbrary, and I'll link it below. But basically, it's talking about the Quebec protests, the student protests in 2012, and it's also talking about architecture and how urban planning and the layout of a city can either protect protesters or protect the privileged and help assert authority over anyone who is protesting. It was really interesting. Like I said, super quick read, but there's a lot of really good ideas and things to think about in this one, so I would definitely recommend it if it sounds interesting. And then I finished listening to the audiobook of The Titan's Curse by Riordan, which is book 3 of the Percy Jackson series, and like the other ones, I'm enjoying it, but it's not kind of blowing me out of the water. But it is enjoyable, and I'll be continuing with the series. I'm kind of impatient to finish the Percy Jackson series and move on to the Heroes of Olympus series because I've heard that that's a lot better. And then I read Frenemy of the People by Nora Olson. This is a young adult book. It's about a kind of popular bisexual girl who ends up having a relationship with the outcast punk lesbian girl at her school. It's dual perspective, so it's got both of their perspectives. This one was kind of neutral to me. The writing wasn't great. I wasn't super invested. It was nice enough, but there were some details I really liked about it. And I'll link the review down below at the Lesbrary. And then I read Gender Failure by Ray Spoon and Ivan Coyote. I loved this book. First of all, I've been a big fan of Ivan Coyote for years. I've read all of their other books. I think this is the 9th book of theirs that I've read, and they're always fantastic. And then I was a big fan of Ray Spoon as a musician, and then they put out their first book, which was First Spring Grassfire, and that was incredible. And now they did a book together, and obviously it's amazing. Before I read the book, I got to go to their tour, which is also called Gender Failure, and they read a lot of the essays included out loud, and there was music, and it was fantastic. I'm so glad I got to see it. And this book is a lot like being able to actually see the show. I would definitely recommend it. They really tried to make the book visual as well. So there's lots of photos included, as well as drawings, some handwritten lyrics. It's such a moving book. I would definitely recommend this one, even if you haven't really read anything about gender before. And if you have, and if you are really familiar with trans narratives, this is still going to have so much to offer. I really think anyone would take a lot out of this book. It's so emotional and thought-provoking, and it really just shows how limited the gender binary is and what it looks like when you can't fit into that binary. And on the last day of May, I finished Page by Tamora Pierce, which is the first book in the Protector of the Small quartet. I have loved Tamora Pierce's books so far. This is the 3rd series of hers that I have started, and this one I can tell is going to be just as good, maybe even better than the Immortal series. I love Caladri, the main character. She has such a great personality. She's very strong, very relatable. Her books seem very comforting to me. They are just so good, and they address sexism, and especially for kids, for the people who it's aimed at. I just wish I had read them when I was that age because it would have been so refreshing to be able to actually read things like that and realize the things that you weren't really able to put into words. So I'm continuing with Page now, and I can't wait to finish the quartet. So those were all the books I read in May. Hopefully I will read even more in June. I'm hoping to make it a really reading-packed month so that I'm not behind on my reading list for LeakyCon. Let me know if you've read any of these, and if you have a May wrap-up video, feel free to link it down below and I'll definitely check it out. And thanks for watching. Bye!